On today's episode of Gordie's Detroit Sports Catch Up, I do my best to not have a mental breakdown over the Tigers' 6 game losing streak. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Monday Night Football matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens. All that and more next on Gordie's Detroit Sports Catch Up. What up, though? What's happening? And welcome back to another episode of Gordie's Detroit Sports Catch Up. On today, listen, I got a mixed bag of feelings, right? We uh, we have a lot of dread induced by the 0-6 losing streak in the last homestand from the Detroit Tigers. And let me pick this up. Actually, got a new mic, by the way. Pretty nice. One of those games, by the way, I was at Friday night, and yeah, I'll talk about that. And it's amazing how quickly your expectations can turn when it comes to Detroit sports. My friend compares it to the roads, but I would say the roads are a lot worse than the sports here in Metro Detroit, Southeast Michigan. But overnight, one of your favorite roads can, uh, a couple potholes come out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you can't take that route without blowing a tire out. It kind of feels that way for the Detroit Tigers after the All-Star break. And, between injuries and guys kind of just falling off a cliff and other guys that, uh, you had high hopes for not producing nearly the way they should, it all the air has definitely been sucked out of the room when it comes to Tigers fans. You know what? All right. I was gonna do the Lions segment first, guys, but fuck it. I need to talk about these guys. Watching this Detroit Tigers team, it it, it reminds me of Chinese water torture. It's like with each drop, or each loss on your head, it makes you even more anxious for the next one. For basically the shoe to drop is kind of what it feels like we're waiting for as Tigers fans, and especially with some more bad news that we got recently with the roster. You know, eventually it'll drive you crazy, and it's almost like as a Tigers fan, but also as somebody who's strapped into a chair and being, suffering through Chinese water torture, you just want it to end. Whether that's a certain demise or, you're out free, you just want it to end. And that's how I feel about this Detroit Tigers season right now. I honestly just want it to end. I literally weeks ago, not even like 2 weeks ago, before we reviewed the series against who was I think that series sweep against the Athletics. Um, I remember thinking like, oh man, like if we just kind of plug some holes in the ship, we'll make our way to a World Series, and this can be a historically good Tigers team. So let's um let's talk about some of these games because yeah, I want to talk about this a little bit. So September 16th, Tigers head into extra innings, lose 5-7. Um, they forced extras with the late homer in the ninth, but it obviously it wasn't enough. Um, this one was really disappointing because we saw Will Vest shit the bed, and it's not just like, oh, he's not one of those guys where it's like, oh, well, he's got swing and miss, and his, they just were, guys are making contact today. His velo's down. Everybody's taking his fastballs or his sliders for a ride. And Stephen Kwan, shocker, pain in the ass for you, started that 10th inning rally with a double and kind of just set the tone for the outburst of offense that Cleveland had afterwards. Um, yeah, so like key moment would be in the 10th when the Guardians rattled off 4 extra base hits in a row, starting with that Quan double, Angel Martinez triple, Jose Ramirez double, and a Kyle Manzardo double for a 4-run rally, um, which happened to be their first, uh, their first such feat in an inning, or extra innings, excuse me, since 1961. So you did historically bad in extra innings against the Cleveland Guardians. Congratulations. The, my one of my worst nightmares with this team is extra innings because of how piss poor the bullpen is. Um, yeah, that game sucked. Let's talk about Thursday, September 18th. The Tigers couldn't capitalize on early opportunities. Cleveland pulled ahead late to complete the sweep. Oh wait, I'm missing one. I'm sorry. Um, hold on a second. So September 16th. So that was Tuesday. And then Wednesday, the 17th. God, there's so many games here. There's so many losses. It's kind of hard to keep these ones straight. But this one was especially embarrassing because you got shut out on Irish Heritage Night. Um, Detroit was shut out for the 10th time this season. Uh, Cleveland's pitching staff stifled the offense and added a couple insurance runs late. Um, I'm gonna have to say key moment would be Bo Naylor's 2-run single in the ninth. That extended the lead out to 4-0 and was kind of just the throat on the neck or the nail in the coffin, whatever metaphor you want to use, that put the Tigers away for that game. Gavin Williams struck out 9 over 5 scoreless innings for his 30th start of the year. He ended the game with 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 runs, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. Jack Flaherty, he didn't have the worst game in the world, but he did walk 4, gave up a run, 3 hits, 5 innings pitched. Let's see here. Yeah, Bo Naylor went 1 for 4 with that 2 RBI single, but yeah, that was just fucking embarrassing. Um, I mean, it is Gavin Williams, but yeah, you couldn't do anything against um, their bullpen. Like the heart of the order did nothing, sat on their hands all game, and it's okay. So another thing that I will get to is the the abhorrent play in the heart of the lineup with runners in scoring position and just in the clutch hitting moments. There's no juice. There's none at all. It's like these guys are, I don't know, waiting to go to Cancun or something. I really don't know. Um, yeah. Let's see here. September 18th. So Thursday, we lose 1-3. Cleveland takes a sweep. Jose Ramirez tie-breaking 2-run homer in the 7th off of Troy Melton right after Tarek Skubal left the game. Uh, Gave Cleveland the 3-1 lead, and yeah, Jose Ramirez is player of the game, and that's kind of wild to say with Tarek Skubal going only giving up 1 run and nine strikeouts a game and a very high quality start, but obviously they won the game, so I'm gonna give player of the game to Jose Ramirez, and obviously it pains me to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't like doing that, but I am fair. Um, yeah, Cole Keith had RBI double in the game. Um, yeah, that game just pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, yeah, just Not happy. Not happy at all. Um, let's see, September 19th. Uh, Braves kind of jumped on us early. Morton was terrible. Gives up 6 runs in what the first 3 innings. Um, yeah, 3 runs. Yeah, 3 runs in the first 2 innings. Or 3 runs in each of the first 2 innings. Excuse me. So six runs in the first 2 innings total. Um, 2-run homer by Ronald Acuna Jr. And then in the second, yeah, um, this was Charlie Morton's funeral, and this will probably be the very last game he ever pitches as a major leaguer. See you later, Charlie. It was announced by the team on Sunday that he was pretty unceremoniously just um, what did they say? Listen. They basically they kicked him off the team. He's gone. See you later. I can't remember what the technical term is, but it's basically the equivalent of waving the guy. Um, yeah, let's see here. Bryce Elder had a really good game for Atlanta. He's the starting pitcher and gets credited with the win. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 6 strikeouts. Charlie Morton was abhorrent with 1.5 innings pitched, 5 homers, 6 runs, and 2 walks. Torkelson had a home run in the fourth inning, which I will show now. And yeah, let me write this down. All right. Sorry, just writing down a little bit of the time for the clip that I want to play for you guys because I was actually there and my cousin recorded, got that torque at bat. He recorded it and obviously got the torque home run on camera. Um, I mean, the park was pretty lively. I could tell there weren't like a ton of actual like real baseball fans there, but yeah. So we got there a little bit late, and the biggest thing that I noticed already, like as I'm in the Uber sitting there watching, oh, Charlie Morton gave up another one. Oh, he gave up another one. Oh, he gave up two. Oh, he gave up another one. Um, Other than just like the sheer disappointment of most fans, a lot of people were still excited. It still was, a lot of fun being at the park, obviously. Um, it's always fun when you get close enough to home plate or, the dugouts to chirp a lot. And I was definitely running my mouth quite a bit. But unfortunately, it didn't do nothing because they got their asses kicked. Um, yeah, let's see here. September 20th. Let's see. All right. Um, mm, yeah, so September 20th, which was Saturday, Detroit held a late lead after rallying back, but Atlanta mounted a dramatic ninth inning comeback to steal the win and extend their streak to 7 games. Key moment with 2 outs in the ninth. Nacho Alvarez ties the game with a single, followed by Jerickson Profar's go-ahead hit, turning a 5-3 deficit into a 6-5 lead. And yeah, Nacho Alvarez Jr., which is one of my favorite names in the whole league, uh, he got his first 2 career home runs earlier. And yeah, he delivered the game-tying single in the ninth. He ends the game with 3 hits, 2 home runs, and yeah, got that game-tying single. Uh, Torque just one home run again. Zach McKinstry had a pinch hit home run, and Raisel Iglesias, he was the starting pitcher. He gets credited with the save as the closing pitcher. Excuse me. with he gave up 0 runs. And yeah. Um all right, last one here, guys. Bear with me because I know this is tough. September 21st, Atlanta Braves take the victory and the series sweep 6-2, and the Tigers conclude their homestand with a loss, extending the skid to 6 as the Braves pull away late. Atlanta scored single runs in the third, fourth, and fifth innings before adding 3 more in the ninth against Tanner Rainey and Paul Sewald. The key moment would be in the ninth. You know, like I said, uh, when they kind of pulled away with 2 walks, an RBI double, a sac fly, and another RBI double. That just sealed the victory after a 27-minute rain delay in the seventh. Um, yeah, sucked. Sucked a lot. Player of the game would probably be Ha-Seong Kim, who got a home run and drove in 2 runs to, spark the Atlanta defense. Casey Mize, you know, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks. Not the greatest start from him, but I'm not necessarily blaming him because I think he still can be a quality starter if this team makes playoffs. But I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, all right. So, um, Colt Keith exits the game, or on what was it, on Sunday, with uh a right side like rib soreness. It's should be a temporary thing, but he said, he kind of feels it in his swings, so that's definitely something to look out for. Not so sure, how that's going to do for him and the team in general when it comes to gaining any momentum heading into playoffs. Which, I mean, who knows if they can even do that now. There might be not enough regular season left to get any uh, decent type of momentum, at least enough to carry you through a round of the playoffs. Um, yeah, Charlie Morton. See you later. I want to look up what the term is for that. I don't want to sound like a total idiot. Um, yeah, they cut him. They just cut him, and oh, it looks like he went back to Atlanta. Wow, great. Um, I don't know if that's where he was like drafted or what, but yeah. They DFA'd him. So yeah, designated free agent. See you later. Get the hell out of here. I wonder if he took the espresso machine with him. Be very curious about that. Let's see here. What do I want to talk about first? Tigers got outscored just specifically this weekend against Atlanta, 22-8. Thank God the Twins got one game against Cleveland, or we would be tied with them for who has a series lead, or I'm sorry, the lead in the division. Um, Specifically, I don't have like the full RSP stats for these past 6 days. I should have compiled that, but I might have pulled all the hair out of my scalp if I forced myself to comb through uh, all of these box scores. Um, yeah, they go 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position on Sunday. Um, this is genuinely some of the most irritating situational baseball I've ever watched. For example, I think it was Saturday. Javi Baez had an at bat where he's got a 3-0 count and he swings at the next 3 pitches. like, okay, obviously swing at that first one, right? 3-0 count, you always swing at the first one. But on the other two, dude, like homeboy was struggling to, you know, get one in the strike zone. Just Javi, spit on that thing, bro. It, I don't get it. I personally, I'm so sick and tired of a guy like that being a black hole on this starting lineup. Um, yeah, just it almost seems like now if we have like you know anybody on your runners on corners, runners in scoring position, whatever, I almost would bet on their pitcher to get the get a strikeout or bet on them not to score because it, it genuinely it drives me insane. They say the definition of what is it? Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, that's what the Tigers are doing right now. They keep banging their heads on the wall and expecting something good to happen, and the only thing they're walking away with is brain damage, bro. Or I like to call it Dane damage. But anyway, um, yeah, it really feels like there's no life in this clubhouse. I know there's nobody on the team really like this. Like there's no Nick Castellanos or anything anymore. But I want to see somebody like get mad. Nobody's showing any passion. Uh, Guys are just washing slider meatballs and fastballs down the middle in the heart of the plate and walking their happy little asses back to the dugout. Like, oh well, I don't care. I got a vacation to Cabo planned in 3 weeks. I hope we don't make the playoffs. Fucking assholes. Um, I don't like the comments from AJ Hemp. I'm sorry, AJ Hinch. Uh, After Sunday, he basically said something to the extent of like, when asked about the team's mentality, he's like, well, everybody wants to focus on the last 2 weeks, and really, people don't want to, you know, look at our overall record and the season as a whole. Basically, the quote that really went viral was quote was what do you say? We're gonna wake up in first place tomorrow. End quote. And that just feels like such a tone deaf, such a laying on your hands kind of an answer. And a mentality like that actually might piss me off more than anything that this roster could have done. And we haven't even gotten into what the fuck is going on with the free agency or the trade deadline acquisitions, because those guys, every single one of them, fucking suck except for maybe one or two, and those guys might barely be viable bullpen options, and the other ones are either not on the team anymore or just aren't fucking MLB level pitchers. Anyways, um, yeah, I wish I saw somebody that had at least like a fraction of the anger that I feel. I'm not even asking for somebody to like have a meltdown and start destroying shit in the dugout. But can somebody get tossed out of the game for arguing, the zone at a ref? Can somebody, I don't know, talk? Dude, I don't even know. I honestly, I don't know. But this team is fucking lethargic. It really does just feel like they've given up. I decided to wear all black today because I thought it'd be fitting for this team's fucking funeral. But today feels like the day that you're making the funeral arrangements, or today feels like the day that you're putting Grandpa in hospice because, well, you know what? There's not really much more we can do for him, so let's just make him comfortable. Fuck! um, yeah, I don't know, man. I um we saw a couple new arms this weekend that I was a little bit excited for, but they turned out to not really be anything. Um, the Rain Man, what's it? Will Rainey, what's his name? Rainey, something Rainey. Yeah, whatever. He sucks. Um, he uh, he might as well be our new Kenta Maeda. The guy had like three pitches that actually were in the strike zone. Um, yeah, I don't even want to talk about Tanner Rainey. Paul Sewald was another guy that we got in the uh in free agency. Or I'm sorry, not in free agency, but in the at the trade deadline. Um, yep. All right, right-handed pitcher acquired from the Cleveland Guardians on July 31st. He was, excuse me, nursing a shoulder strain when we traded him, and didn't make his debut until Thursday, September 18th. He's made four appearances since. He's allowed runs in high leverage situations, including the ninth inning of the September 21st loss. His sweeper generated some whiffs, but command issues persisted in a small sample. Um, yeah, 7.36 ERA with 3 innings pitched. He's got a 1.64 whip, four strikeouts, two walks, and an opponent batting average of 286. 3 innings pitched, bro. Yeah. Not a whole lot from Paul Sewald. Charlie Morton, right? In his 9 games started and his 39 innings pitched for the Detroit Tigers, he had a 7.09 ERA. He went 2 for 5, had a 1.60 whip, 47 strikeouts, 23 walks, and 8 home runs allowed with an opponent batting average of 282. When it was over for Morton, it was over. I think, he had like one quality start, and then another one he got bailed out in. Uh, yeah, guy's cooked. Guy's absolutely cooked. Who else do we have here? Chris Paddock. Oh Jesus. So yep, we acquired him from Minnesota on 28th. He was basically supposed to be our replacement for Reese Olson. I remember as soon as the news that Reese Olson was injured came out, like immediately following that, um, you know, we went out and grabbed Chris Paddock. Um, Started with us as a starter, but got moved to the bullpen after a couple of inconsistent performances. He went 2-2 with a 5.40 ERA and 6 starts, 30 innings pitched before the shift to the bullpen, where he continued to struggle, including a poor relief outing, allowed 6 earned runs and 1.1 innings. Overall, since joining, his strikeout rate dropped notably, and he surrendered 8 home runs in limited innings. 35 innings pitched, 2-3, 6.81 ERA, 1.52 WHIP, 19 strikeouts, 10 walks, 10 home runs allowed, with a opponent batting average of 278. So both these guys, both of the starting quote unquote starting pitchers that you went out and grabbed at the deadline were candidates to be DFA'd. One of them was DFA'd, and the other one was had just as good of a case to be DFA. Maybe you just felt a little bit bad for him, or since he's younger, you think maybe he has some more left in the tank. But he sucks. All of these guys kind of really suck. Kyle Finnegan, yeah, Kyle Finnegan had a pretty rough game. I think it was on Saturday. Let's see here. Yeah, so Saturday, he let up one hit, one run, and a walk. One of those hits was a home run, and ended the day with a 3.31 ERA. So that's kind of left a sour taste in my mouth when it comes to Cal Finnegan. Um, yeah, he emerged as the Tigers' most reliable late inning arm post trade, pitching 14 scoreless innings across 12 appearances before a groin injury sidelined him from September 1st to September 19th. He notched 4 saves and struck out batters at a high clip while maintaining pretty decent control, like I said, until somewhat recently, where it's kind of felt like everybody has fallen apart, and his fellow high velo relief guy, Will Vest, not looking good either. I have some notes on him. Yeah, his velo's down. He's not missing bats. And if we're out our best closer, mm, there's honestly there might be like no hope for this Tigers team. I heard I heard somebody say that we can win at least 2 games a series with just a Tarek Skubal start and a Finnegan close, but I don't know if Finnegan is ready for these high leverage, you know, extremely high pressure moments, trying to you know clinch victory out of the jaws of defeat in say in Cleveland or in Boston or wherever, because at this point there's a good chance that you don't even you're not going to get that first overall bye. um Derek School next start will be tomorrow at Cleveland. He got bumped up. This will be the most important regular season series the Tigers have played in probably like 11 years. Um, yeah, overall, I don't see a bright immediate future for this team. I think long term the future could be bright with some pieces that you have in the farm system, but um, yeah, this might be one of the biggest collapses that we've ever seen in Detroit sports history. Basically, going to be the Minnesota Twins from last year all over again. But somehow, maybe even more embarrassing, just because of how good you were before the All Star break and how many people you sent to the All Star game. But yeah, I I got some of my anger out beforehand, but honestly, this fucking team does not deserve to make the playoffs. Uh, I feel bad that I, you know, spent money on tickets to go to this game for literally what was probably the worst game of the entire year. And you know, I had great company that night, and we finished that night off with a nice dinner. But mm, 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 yeah, I'm ready for hockey. I'm ready for basketball. I'm ready to not think about the Tigers because these guys are trash. All right. Next segment, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the Detroit Lions. We're gonna do a game preview against the Baltimore Ravens. Um, yeah, all that more next on Gordie's Detroit Sports Catch Up. I think this actually works. This might actually not be. Wait a second. Let's see if we can do this. Okay, this might actually not be too bad. We're gonna if if it looks goofy, we'll take it off. But this might not be too bad. All right, fuck it. Cold open. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Gordie's Detroit Sports Catch Up. Uh, segment two. We're gonna go ahead and do our review for the Week 3 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. If you guys have not already, please do me a favor and like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have anything to say, please be free to leave a comment. Anything helps. And if you want to stay up to date on all of the Detroit sports teams that you love and enjoy my content and don't want to miss a single video, make sure that you hit that little bell icon notification to get notifications about every single time I upload. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Anything that you do helps to kind of boost me and get me showing up on more people's feeds in the algorithm. So yeah, help me out, guys. uh I love and appreciate anybody that watches. So yeah, anyways, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at this week 3 matchup. So both teams are 1-1 heading into this game. Ravens coming off 2 40-point games, one of which was a loss, week home against the Buffalo Bills, where they had a 10-point lead and gave it all up. So, uh, you know, hate to see it, but yeah. And then last week was a thorough ass kicking of the Cleveland Browns. Okay, this is feeling a little bit goofy. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. All right, I hope that wasn't too loud for you guys. Uh, yeah, Lamar Jackson has a pretty eye-watering record against the NFC, being 24-2 versus non-conference teams. And they are looking to be the first team in NFL history to score 40 points in their first 3 games. If they do that, that would be pretty impressive, especially given the fact that they have some key injuries on offense and have been kind of forced to change the format and a lot of the way they play. So yeah. Anyways, Lamar Jackson, he's 2-0 against the Lions. He has a passer rating of 117.3 with 644 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception across the 2 games that he has played against the Lions. And Detroit Lions have won their last 3 Monday Night Football matchups. It's safe to say that both these teams definitely love the bright lights. Detroit's defense is going to have to come out, all cylinders firing, because the Ravens' offense has a tendency to get out to a sizable lead pretty quickly. So, if these guys aren't locked in, by the time the second, third play comes around, it could be a long day for Detroit's defense. Let's see here. Detroit is definitely going to have to, in my opinion, the key of the game really is going to be the pass rush. So what they're going to be able to do with that shallow of a room, and how are they going to incorporate, you know, other guys, or guys from other levels to help generate a pass rush. And I hate even the term generate a pass rush, because if you have to generate a pass rush, it usually means that you don't have enough talent up front to get after the quarterback naturally, which right now we definitely don't. Um, Especially given the fact that Marcus Davenport now on the IR. Big surprise. I can't believe I thought that guy was going to contribute on this team, because he just didn't. He didn't at all. Um, yeah. So let's see here. Linebackers are also going to be asked to do a ton today. Like I was saying, with pass rush, they're going to be asked to rush the quarterback. They're going to be asked to, QB spy, contain the quarterback. They're going to be asked to, plug up running gaps, or have to go after Derrick Henry if he, skips up outside and cuts loose on the edges. And yeah, the all in all, I have faith in the secondary. It's really just the box that I'm worried about for the Detroit Lions. Um, First things first, let's go ahead and talk about the Detroit Lions offense. So the Lions offense does a great job at using motions and lining up guys in regular spots. You'll get a tight end lined up, Sam Laporta lined up at wide out, or he can come across the backfield in a motion and line up in the slot. You got a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, who can line up wide. He can line up in the slot, obviously, is his natural spot. You put him in motion all the time. I even saw him running jet sweeps out of the backfield, or just being put in the backfield and rushing the ball. Um, what, well, I mean, you got Jameer Gibbs, who's one of the most talented receiving running backs and hasn't even necessarily been given a whole lot of receiving opportunities compared to some of the other more flashier names when it comes to the that aspect of a running back's game. But um, yeah, quarterback Jared Goff loves to use the RPO and the play action pass, and I think that is what um, this Baltimore defense is actually pretty susceptible to, especially when you are missing your two most important pass rushers. The Baltimore defense is out on a Kyle Van Noy, who would usually, be at that other edge spot. And they also are out a used to be, I think, what is it, James Medbuke, or uh, now it's Namdi Madabuke, who, big fella, usually taken up in the middle, but he is out. So with those two injuries, I actually, it makes me really excited for Detroit's chances. I think beforehand, I thought the offense might have had a little bit too much of a handful with all these talented guys on the Baltimore defense. But given the fact that they might genuinely struggle to generate a pass rush, and especially without having your best interior pass rusher present, I think it gives the opportunity for this Detroit interior offensive line with Graham Glasgow, Tate Ratledge, the rookie from Georgia, and Christian Mahogany, first year starter, because he's only started a handful of games. We saw these guys really bad week one and really good week two. So I'm trying to tamper my expectations for week three, just because of the nature of the beast. You know what I mean? Whether it's how how oppressive of an atmosphere, away atmosphere, the stadium in Baltimore can be. Is it Keyworth Stadium, I think, or is that the one in Cleveland? I don't know. Anyways, that's a really, really, really tough place to play in, and the communication is going to be something that will be crucial. One of the biggest kind of sticking points, and something that I really hope that they uh, really drilled down on in practice, is that communication between the center and his two guards, and then quarterback Jared Goff. Um, yeah, uh, getting the pass off in the middle of the field is going to be kind of crucial, or very crucial, for Lions offensive coordinator Johnny Morton. And what I really, really want to see them utilize is uh, Jared Goff hitting Amon-Ra St. Brown and some guys, whether it's Khalif Raymond or it is a Isaac Tesla, or definitely a Sam Laporta. Getting these guys involved in, some routes that will take them across the middle of the field. I really want to see a route tree that attacks the middle of the field, attacks a potential weakness that they have at linebacker, and um, yeah, I'm going to be very curious to see with a kind of banged up Nate Wiggins for the Baltimore Ravens. Now he did get an interception, I believe, last week, but he's still definitely going to be proved to be a big challenge, and he always has been one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Um, has been for a few years now, but yeah, if they can like what they the worst case scenario, we saw what this team looks like when they're really bad, and when they can't get their offense going, they look very stale, milk toast, and it kind of looks like the only passes that they really got going is up the seams, and a lot of go routes, a lot of corner route, a lot of kind of BS routes that a safety tandem as good as the Ravens would be able to kind of easily pick up on, and just not let anything uh, get going for the Detroit offense. So that's why I say that attacking the middle of the field is so crucial to keep your playbook open. Um, yeah, the rushing attack is something that I think might disappoint the non-ball knower fan, I would say. But if you knew about the Baltimore Ravens defense, you know that they were the number one rush defense from last year, and they have well, you know what? They are missing quite a few guys. They're missing Patrick Queen, obviously he left. Um, and then they have Matabuke and Van Noy on the injured list. But with the guys that they have in place and the linebackers, the system, everything in general, they're still going to be one of the harder teams to run the ball on. And a lot of these big D tackles in the middle that they got, guys like let's see here, guys like Washington, they got guys like Anais Peebles, Aeneas Aeneas Peebles. Um, I think they're going to be enough to kind of clog up the middle. So it's going to force a Jameer Gibbs to run out for routes a lot more. I think it's going to force Montgomery to have less of a role that's visible from the stat sheet and more of a lot more chipping on this game, or some of the angry runs he you know it's going to be a lot harder for a guy like Dave Montgomery today. Just given how talented, uh, these defenders are. Um, let's see here. Speaking of talented defenders on Baltimore, let's just get right into it. Let's talk about it. So, yeah, Baltimore's defense, led by defensive coordinator Zach Orr, will definitely have their hands full against arguably one of the most complete offensive rosters in the league. They boast, like I said, the number one rush defense from last season, and luckily they still have one of the most talented and well-rounded units in football. Roquan Smith is, I would say, the leader of this defense. I mean, you could say Marlon Humphrey because I'm pretty sure he's been on the team. Yeah, he's definitely been on the team for longer, but um, he's coming off a ridiculous performance last week with 15 solo tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, and he scooped up a fumble for a touchdown for the cherry on top. Uh, Coming off a career performance, I don't expect him to do that because that's ridiculous. 15 TFLs, a TD, 2 quarterback hit. I mean, dude, he's not going to do that again. But he's obviously still going to have a good stat line. He's going to make his presence known. And if we can Jared Goff is going to have to look him off a lot and throw to wherever the hell he isn't, because he's just that dangerous. And he's also a big problem when it comes to rushing the quarterback. I mean, he's no matter what, that guy's going to be a problem. Um, let's see here. Odafeowe is another big guy up in the middle that is extremely talented for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm looking at their linebackers core right now, and there's not too many other guys that like jump out at me. Um, Teddy Buchanan, number 40, he's a solid piece for them. Odafe Owe is going to have a huge role tonight with getting a pass rush with how depleted the pass rush and the defensive line unit is. Speaking of that defensive line, um, they are missing, like I said, their two best pass rushers and guys like Broderick Martin and Beebles. Right, those guys are going to have to pitch in and do a lot. Marlon Humphrey, he's still that dude. Um, Still captain on the team. Still, a badass. Wouldn't he be like nickel? You know, he's awesome. Um, Chidobe Awuzie is another actually really underrated cornerback for this team. And if anybody's gonna get a pick tonight, I mean, obviously Kyle Hamilton would be like your first choice, but Awuzie would probably be my second choice. And I might put a little bit of cheese on him getting a pick. It's a hunch. It's one of those feelings, you know. I don't think Jared Goff is going to be throwing into Kyle Hamilton's direction very often because I think he's smarter than that. But Chidobe Awuzie is a guy that's going to get a lot of a lot, not targets, but like a lot of balls thrown uh, into his coverage. So I think if Jared isn't careful and isn't right on the money, then I think he can do some damage. Um, let's see here. They got David Ojabo, so Jabo shout out, but also not shout out. I don't know if he's gonna be in too much, but I'm sure he'll be in it. We'll see him a little bit, number 90, because like I said, they're kind of like in the same boat as us. They don't have a whole lot of pass rushers. Uh, Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to Baltimore's offense versus the Detroit defense. So Baltimore's offense is looking to continue their dominance, especially against non-conference foes. Offensive coordinator Todd Monken has the reins of an offense that is returning 10 of their 11 starters from last season. Uh, Yeah, the consistency is, in my opinion, mostly seen out of this offensive line group. They got some amazing guys on the squad. Uh, you know, Guys like Voorhees, Linderbaum, Ronnie Staley at right guard. Uh, they got some serious talent on that offensive line. I really like watching them when they're at pulling plays, and their run blocking obviously is something that I'm sure that they work on a lot, but it's definitely one of their strengths. And yeah, they're gonna have to do a lot more in terms of blocking with a guy like Ricard out. Patrick Ricard is a huge part of their offense and is one of the few fullbacks in the league that still at really kick ass. Um, he, you guys know how I feel about the fullback. I love the fullback, so um, I think it's a shame guys like Cam Scatabo have to deny their true position. But anyways, um, yeah, uh, we've seen the Baltimore offense run a lot more 11-man personnel or 1-1 personnel. So, one tight end, one back, and the three receivers, because now they kind of have the personnel to do that with a DeAndre Hopkins on the other side of Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. For as far as wide receiver 3 goes, he's fine. He's solid. I mean, he's let me down in fantasy a few times, but not that bad. Um, let's see here. Speaking of, say Flowers is coming off his first Pro Bowl season and will continue to be Lamar's top target, and most likely, or most definitely, he will be a handful for Detroit secondary. He's fast. He gets utilized. a lot in motions and jet sweeps. And yeah, overall, man, his his night will kind of, or at least his stat line tonight will be one of those things that you can look at as a barometer for how good Baltimore did in general. Zay Flowers has a bad game. Um, they typically, are pretty one-sided. They and you see Lamar Jackson kind of having to play hero ball, and that usually doesn't work out for the Ravens very well, especially in playoff games. But um, Zay Flowers still a amazing wide receiver. So yeah, Mark Andrews, he's been pretty quiet so far this season. He's definitely going to be looking to kind of shed that old man and like washed label, but I don't have any faith in him. I stayed far away from him in my fantasy drafts this year. Yeah, Justice Hill, he's a pretty underrated weapon for the Ravens. One of the better receiving backs in football. And when Derrick Henry is not on the field, you still have to worry about number 43. Speaking of Derrick Henry, King Henry is probably pretty pissed off after that pretty brutal stat line against Cleveland that he put up. Even though Cleveland's a very good rush defense, but he's playing another pretty damn good rush defense this week in Detroit. So we'll see how he does. He Speaking of the Browns, he recently broke Jim Brown's all-time record for touchdowns with his two against Buffalo. That put him to 108 career TDs to Jim Brown's 106. I think he's like fifth or sixth all time, or maybe uh, further up than that. But yeah, I pity the poor fool that feels the wrath of King Henry and gets stiff armed into the shadow realm. I just hope it's nobody important on this team. Um, yeah, Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson will be a monumental challenge for the Detroit defense tonight, and is one of those players that defensive coordinators stay up all night scheming for, and they still might not have enough to get it done against him just because of how elite of a playmaker this guy is, and just how special, how talented he is. I mean, he's really is something. Um, yeah, in two games against the Lions, he had 434 passing yards and 83 rushing yards. So it's shown me that, like, at least, okay. So I think these stats might be a little bit misconceiving, or misconceiving, because 83 rushing yards sounds pretty good, but for a guy like Lamar Jackson, he usually has a lot more. But it's kind of just enough against a team like Detroit that does so well against the run, to where he can scramble out and get, pick up 3-4 yards and keep a drive alive, and that is the difference between these two offenses. I think we have a more well-rounded receiver room and generally more weapons, but they have, I got to be careful how I word this, because I think these two offenses are very great, just in different ways. And they do things very differently, but they both love to run the football. So it's kind of weird. Obviously Baltimore, they're a little bit more like Philadelphia, where their quarterback and their running back, their one sole running back, has the ability to change the game with their feet. But um, yeah, good luck containing this guy for Detroit. Anyways, we move on to the Detroit defense, led by first-year defensive coordinator, former linebackers coach Kelvin Shepard. Really a tough spot for, like I said, for any defensive coordinator when attempting to prepare against this backfield. Um, it's going to be crucial for these guys to stay disciplined and stay in their rushing lanes. So, when you're coming out of your stance, and you really, you either, if it's a run, you got to get shallow, you got to stay horizontal, or if it's the pass, these guys can't overcommit. You can't see them
go too far in because Lamar Jackson, he's just so easily able to just squeak out and do whatever the hell he wants. Or, um,
Another thing that I think the defense is the Detroit defense is going to not struggle with, but is a big challenge that they're going to face is
um,
basically making Hutch responsible for making the play on RPO. So
let me remove that a little bit. Let's get Justice Hill out of here just for the sake of it. Um, so on a run play, right? Lamar can, he's got we got the running back on the strong side towards Hutch, right? And when he's crossing over to the release point of the ball and, either coming up with it right, the point of the decision of the RPO, at that same time, you're going to have, a lot of these guys blocking down and isolating Hutch. Maybe he gets a chip, maybe he doesn't, forcing him to make the decision. And he's got to stay disciplined and he's got to come down and
stay horizontal. It's one of those things. It's all in the hips. You can't get knocked off your track um, on these conflicts. Is what I heard, especially Coach John Gruden call it the conflicts for these DNs, right?
because if you go too far inside and it's given to or it's not given to Derrick Henry, Lamar's just going to bounce out and he's going to beat you and he's going to be down the field for 5, 10, 15 yards. If you you know come out and not far in enough and you over pursue, then Derrick Henry, he's just going to take it up the middle.
See you later. So you really where'd that cap go? You really got to be careful if you're Aiden Hutchinson, and I really hope that he's been practicing that specific situation a lot in this game because I think we're going to see it a lot, and I really hope that we don't see it in a replay highlight where Derrick Henry takes it to the house or Lamar Jackson gets a 30-yard scramble. Because I think this is going to be one of those plays where the game is won or lost.
Um, and then, yeah, like I said, Marcus Davenport is out for your Detroit Lions. So we're going to have a kind of by committee
Um, between what is it, Lacey? Yeah, Tyler Lacey and Roy Lopez in the middle. Also, maybe a Makai Wingo. Um, who I don't have to worry about is the other two big fellas in the middle, a DJ Reader and a Tyleek Williams. Tyleek Williams, uh, so far with two batted passes, he hasn't done a whole lot to contribute to the pass rush, but we never really expected that from him. And he's kind of just, kind of the DJ Reader replacement when we get Ali McNeil healthy. But we have two of, the premier run stopping, lane clogging defensive tackles in all of the NFL. I mean, it's just a wall of flesh. Shout out to my Terraria players up the middle that King Henry is gonna have to deal with, and we'll see if he's mighty enough to make it through there. If he dares to run right through the middle of the Detroit Lions defensive line, and some other guys that I think are going to have to pitch in a lot to stop the rush, or to stop the rush is going to have to be um, our Sam linebacker, Mr. Derek Barnes, who just recently got a big contract extension. It's time to prove it, buddy. Let's see what you can do against one of the best rushing attacks in all of the league. Um, Jack Campbell has been uh, nursing a little bit of an ankle injury, some like a sprained ankle or some soreness. So hopefully he is 99, 100% ready to go for this game because he is going to need to be able to get sideline to sideline to deal with this offense that
they I think we see a lot more. We've seen a lot more growth in the route tree from the Baltimore receivers. Naturally, you're running a 1-1 formation. You're gonna have to switch up the route tree a lot. You can't just have two guys on the seams run goes. So, we saw a lot of that last year when you had two tight ends that were solid and Likely and Andrews, and then you had obviously a Patrick Ricard fullback to be an extra blocker. But yeah, Alex Anzalone's coverage ability, Jack Campbell's coverage ability, and the just versatility of a Derek Barnes for the pass rush or stopping the run, which all these guys can also do at a high clip. Um, they're going to be asked to do a lot. I think Derek Barnes is probably going to be your most likely quarterback spy, and for a game like this, that's crucial. You have to have a good quarterback spy if you want to have any amount of success against a an elite running quarterback like Lamar Jackson. Um, Cornerbacks, I think DJ Reed is going to have one of the games of his career, one of his defining games, as not only as a Lion but as an NFL player. And I think we're going to see a lot of 4-on-4. I mean that as in Zay Flowers and DJ Reed. I think in man coverage, I think they really would prefer to have a DJ Reed on a guy like Zay Flowers, just because the experience, the physicality, and the speed. I don't, I think Terrion Arnold is fantastic, but I don't think he's ready for cornerback one responsibilities. So naturally, I think that goes to a a DJ Reader or a DJ Reed, excuse me. Um, Other than that, Amik Robertson, he's gonna have a big role tonight too as the nickelback for the Detroit Lions today, and yeah, gonna be a big day for him. Um, he is another guy that might be a potential like quarterback spy, so we will see. And something that I really haven't talked about yet, but is going to be the best thing to watch is going to be the safety matchup. So we got obviously um, Branch versus Hamilton, two of the best safeties we have seen in the NFL since Ed Reed, and statistically that we can back up that statement. And then the free safeties are also pretty damn good in Kirby Joseph and Malachi Stokes. Um, right, Stokes. I think it's Stokes. Let me make sure I'm not messing that up. Malachi Starks. Excuse me. So yeah, overall, I'm not sure how many deep Hail Mary balls, how many 50-50, 30-yard passes that we're going to see today just because of the fact that we have such good safeties that both quarterbacks are going to have to respect in this game. Um, yeah, this could be a potential Super Bowl matchup. Um, some guys that I think might be underrated for Baltimore, Mike Green and Odafo Owe. And then some guys that I think might be underrated for the Detroit Lions, Al-Qadim Muhammad and Tyleek Williams. And I know all these guys are on defense, but it's really, we already know what we're getting with the Baltimore and Detroit offenses. So it's really just how can these defenses respond? Final score prediction. I got 31-28, real close game, last second field goal, little payback. When they got us a few years back with that last second Justin Tucker field goal. 31-28, Detroit victory. They move on and they face the Browns week 4, heading into that game 2-1, I predict. Anyways, guys, that is all I have to say about the Detroit Lions. Pistons are 29, 28 days away from tip off. And
let's see who else we got. I don't know when the Red Wings start exactly. I should know that, but I don't know how many days.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but
Pretty decent. Uh, anyways, guys, this is a longer video than I wanted it to be, so I'm gonna try to make sure I get this out before the game starts. If you guys enjoyed this episode, excuse me, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that. It really helps me out in the algorithm and helps get my content out there. Just a Detroit sports content creator trying to improve my skills and yeah, get my voice heard, get myself out there. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And I should be making another episode around the end of the week. Hopefully another prediction video for Friday, Saturday about, and then yeah, we'll see what happens with the Tigers. Uh, I don't even want to talk about them. Anyways, guys, yeah, go Lions, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.